You're about to witness one of the most audacious attempts by a wife to frame her husband for domestic violence.
She's dangerous, very dangerous.
Watch how this woman astonishingly punches herself in the face, not once, but twice, later telling police her husband bashed her.
It's flipped my life upside down.
She says her millionaire fiance beat her. He says she beat herself, then tried to frame him. He also says she stole millions of dollars in jewelry from him before calling off their wedding. This morning, this disturbing video is at the center of a he said, she said breakup.
Okay, so these two stories you're about to hear are insane. So the first story takes us to Australia. This is Fazil Khan and he is looking for a wife. So he goes to a Muslim dating site and meets the woman of his dreams.
If love is blind, then Faisal only had eyes for Asma.
She presented herself like she's the perfect girl on the planet.
He met her through an online Muslim dating site and proposed soon after leaving Western Sydney to meet Asma in Morocco.
So they eventually get married and head back to Australia where he works 2 jobs and spoils his new wife to death.
The two officially tied the knot here last year, and Faisal was hardly frugal in making his new bride feel at home. He worked 2 jobs, spending everything he earned on his wife, from Gucci tracksuits to leather jackets, rings, necklaces and shoes, holidays and fine dining, parties in Morocco and money wired back to Asma's family. A fawning Faisal says he was a good provider.
So they are living the life, her family's getting the money, she's getting the money. What could go wrong?
When he came home from a night shift at Woolies,
Yeah, it was all prepared for me, the whole crime scene.
the unit had been ransacked. Faisal says Asma was waiting for him with this disturbing message.
I entered and she just said to me that you think you are smart and you are talking to lawyers about me. Now see what I do to you. And she just ran.
CCTV captures the bizarre events that followed. Asma runs from the apartment and into the lift. She presses the button. Takes a few moments before the incredible Asma attack. She gives herself 2 uppercuts to her face and clutches her cheek. She then checks her handiwork in the mirror. Seemingly satisfied with her self-inflicted punishment, Asma eagerly waits for the lift door to open. She takes off down the hall and into the street to call police. Oblivious to what his wife had cooked up and concerned for her safety, Faisal also went to the police, where he was arrested and charged with assault.
Now, police have his wife with bruises all over her face, and she's saying he punched me in the face and this is all abuse. And he just gets arrested, and he's facing up to 7 years in prison for the assault. Now, the more shocking part is that while Faisal is in police custody, his wife has the police take her to the house, and she then steals all of the jewelry and all of the important items that Faisal has, essentially robbing him blind with the help of the police.
In a follow-up sucker punch, Faisal says the police unwittingly helped Asma steal his things, which she had packed into these suitcases while he was being held at the station. But more importantly, Faisal's freedom was also about to be taken.
Now, obviously, when the video came out, it was clear that this woman had beat herself, filed a false police report, testified falsely against her husband, and taken his stuff. So the police rightfully should have arrested her for filing a false police report, which could land her 7 years in jail. But police didn't do that. They let her walk away.
New South Wales police dropped the assault charges, but never charged his estranged wife for making a false accusation, an offence which also carries a jail term of up to 7 years.
Question is, why not? The answer is, because if they do, they're going to be embarrassed by what they didn't do at first instance.
Victims of crime advocate Howard Brown says it appears police failed to investigate Asma's assault claims properly and assumed Faisal was guilty from the outset.
So when you realise that someone has made a false declaration to a police officer and you can prove that she made a false declaration, you then charge her with perverting the course of justice.
Now, this woman went above and beyond. Even listen to the statement she gave police about the alleged assault, the fake assault that she made up.
Faisal grabbed my throat with both hands and began to squeeze tight until the point I was unable to breathe. He punched me on my left cheek and with his fist. He has started to hit me everywhere with the belt. He was so violent to me. I thought I was going to die.
Now, the reason why she did all of this is because Faisal wanted out of the marriage. He was working 2 jobs and spending lavishly on a woman who just stood home and did nothing. So he was like, I want to get out of this relationship, and she wanted him to suffer by any means necessary.
Faisal suspects Asma's motive was an email she discovered he had sent to a visa migration agent. He says he wanted out of the marriage, which was potentially a threat to her ability to stay in Australia.
Now, the most shocking part about this story is that the wife was able to just walk away. She wasn't charged. She had absolutely no negative consequences from this event, even though the surveillance footage showed that she absolutely lied about being abused. And on top of that, stole all his stuff. Now, even though Faisal's wife was able to escape any consequences because of pretty privilege, this same thing happened here in Florida. Now, this is Mary Hunt, and she also has hit the jackpot. She found a millionaire boyfriend in Florida, and they are set to be married. Now, before we get to our next story of this crazy woman who tried to set up her fiance, I have to tell you about this game-changing product that I use before a night out with drinks. It's called ZBiotics. ZBiotic is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink and is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. Now, it was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. Now, it's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Now, that's the beauty of ZBiotic. It produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. And all you have to do is make ZBiotic your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Now, every time I use ZBiotics before I drink, I do notice a big difference the next day. Now, to be straight up, I was a bit skeptical about ZBiotic when I first used it. I gave it a shot and it worked for me. Now, if you want to give it a shot, go to ZBiotic.com/Nate to get 15% off your first order when you use the promo code Nate at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with the 100% money back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to ZBiotics.com/Nate to use the code Nate at checkout for 15% off. And thanks to ZBiotics for sponsoring this video. But things start devolving very quickly, where she starts alleging that her husband is assaulting her and releases this video of him kicking her out of his home. Check it out.
Stop, you're being violent.
Hunt showed cell phone video of an enraged Mitchell kicking her out of his home and tearing her clothes.
Now, nowhere in that video did you actually see her fiance touch her or hit her. There was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of throwing around of clothes, but she was never harmed in that video. But she did provide a picture showing her with their black eye, claiming that her fiance had done that. But as I always say, thank God for the videotape, because her fiance was able to provide police with this video that shows that she beat herself up to frame him.
Mary Hunt, seen here apparently hitting herself in a fit of rage. Attorneys for 45-year-old Scott Mitchell releasing selected clips from his home security system to refute Hunt's claims that her former fiance was abusive, giving her a black eye.
Now, her millionaire fiance wasn't charged because the video seemed to show that she had self-inflicted wounds. But this thing even went further. Authorities actually arrested this woman, not for filing any false police reports or anything like that. It was for actually stealing, allegedly stealing, over $2 million of jewelry from her ex-fiance. But those charges were later dropped.
From engagement photos to booking photos, Scott Mitchell accused his ex-fiancée Mary Hunt of breaking into his Palm Harbor home in August 2015, stealing $2 million worth of diamonds, jewels, and gold. She claimed it was all a lie, retaliation from a relationship filled with manipulation and abuse. In June, the U.S. Attorney's Office decided not to prosecute the case, and Monday, the state attorney's office in Pinellas County also dropped all charges.
Now, after the charges were dropped, her ex-fiance said, well, listen, I'll just sue you in civil court. And they had a bombshell recording of her father admitting to being shipped all of this gold and jewels. Check it out.
His attorney, Todd Foster, is banking on an audio recording of Michael Hunt, Mary's father, saying Mary and her mother, Linda, shipped the jewelry to Virginia.
I know what they did. They sent me a box of gold and jewels. Now, they're lying motherfuckers.
Now, this case was settled out of court, and we don't know the details of the settlement. But the more shocking part is, if this man didn't have that video of her punching and slapping herself in the face, he would have been arrested and charged with domestic violence. So, two men on opposite sides of the planet believe they found the women of their dreams, but those women are trying to set them up and take all of their money. And just imagine if there was no video. Both these men would have done time. They would have been found guilty. And the fact that these women had absolutely no consequences for perpetrating these frauds, for essentially framing these men, is, I think, the moral of the story. People need to be held accountable for committing crimes against other people, even if they're women. And I understand right now we should believe all women. But I always say, believe facts and evidence and hold people accountable. If you like what you heard, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and for real, if you've made it to this part of the video and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, come on, really? You're killing me here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.